Welcome to Jammin with J Money. J Money's having a computer issue right now. I will be hosting the show. He will be back on Monday, and we will try to take good care of this spectacular show that he is the star of. His co-stars are rolling with us. Jordan Sharp in the house. Junior Browne ready to get to work. Very easy 2-0 day for me yesterday. Too easy. Bucks first half -5.5. Too easy. That over in the Pelicans Jazz game. Too easy. As soon as we knew Ingram was good to go, goes off for 49 points. Too easy. Jordan Sharp, how was your night last night?
Not great, not bad either. I missed my two plays for the show. One, that first half in the game you're just talking about by 1 point, so that stings just a little bit. But did end up jumping on something that you mentioned yesterday I didn't need to tip you for, is that when you talked about the Clippers and the Magic, all those games going over on the second night of those Staples back-to-back, I jumped on the first half over that one, ended up cashing that, so not a complete loss on the day. Almost hit that parlay, too, that I was talking about. Missed that by 2 Jokic points. I needed one more overtime to hit that for it to be a really nice day. So I was this close, but still a little bit of an L yesterday. But I'm ready to bounce back here. A nice little 7-game slate tonight.
Nice work, and I can't take the credit. I can't take the credit for that stat. And I saw that clear by a point of the final number on the first half over. I got to give all the credit there to Dan Kelly and all of his numbers that he's been banging out for 35 years. So shout out to Dan Kelly. JB, how was your game, man?
I went 3-2 yesterday. Not bad. Hit the Knicks first quarter plus a half. The over 55 in that spot. I hit the Clippers 6.5 first half, but lost both of the Utah plays. New Orleans came to play and looked pretty impressive. I think that we were talking about who's going to hold down that 8th spot in the Western Conference. Right now it's Memphis, but New Orleans might have something to say about that. What you guys think?
We're having sound problems again in the studio. I imagine that Junior Browne said I cashed that first quarter easily. I despise doing shows with you, Jimmy. Where is J Money? I do not want to do this for another day. We have to do this again. I will go through the motions and deliver more winners. Great. Oh, no, I can hear him. I got him here. Okay, there's Junior Browne. My guy, Junior Browne. Great job on that first quarter over. Beautiful. And we have J Money in the chat. Because we don't leave the superstar on the bench. If our guy's ready to go, let's go. We got a great group of cappers ready to roll with us. Carlos Cruz, Dylan Turner, Alvin Smith, Danny, my guy, Marcelo, Moses Saucedo, Keith Sadler, Ninji, Chris, AU Rock, and take it easy. Rob Job says, Junior nailed that Knicks game perfectly. We only have 30 minutes set aside for this show, and we have 7 games and a lot of work to do. I've already locked in 2 bets from earlier this morning, and then I made 3 prop bets. But I didn't get to bet them because I thought I wasn't planning on hosting this show, so I haven't got to the window with them, and I want to bet them. But let's start breaking down this card, and I love this card. Let's start with Wizards-Raptors. Let's go to the best odds page on the planet, sportsbookreview.com, SBR odds page, and let's get after this right now. Wizards-Raptors, I shouldn't say we all, I mean, JP and I remember every Raptors game so clearly. That Wizards game was tough. That last Wizards game was tough. Raptors were big favorites, and they were rolling along in the first half, and then they let the Wizards get back into it, 122-118 on December 20th. Bradley Beal went for 37 points. 11 games in a row against the Raptors, he's gone for 20 or more. He steps up against this club, and I've already jumped on the over 22.5 point prop for Bradley Beal. I want a Troy Brown Jr. point prop, but my book's not dropping one right now. He just went off no points in 17 minutes, and I read an interview of him, and he's itching to get back on the floor right now. Raptors almost blew a 30-point lead. Wizards did blow a giant lead. Both of these games on Wednesday. Raptors took care of business and took out the Thunder 130-121. I've actually hit 8 of my last 9 sides and totals. The only one loser of my last 9 sides and totals was this first half under on Wednesday. Raps getting healthier. Van Fleet might be in the lineup, and there's been no movement. Still 10.5 right now in this Wizards-Raptors game. Let's take a quick look at the total here and see if anything has changed there. 229 now up to 230. Jordan Sharp, take it away. You got a move to make on Wizards-Raptors?
I'm staying off this spot. I think there's you just mentioned it. The unknown of whether or not VanVleet is going to be back, I think, is a little bit tricky. I imagine, just like you mentioned, that this line will probably move up a point and a half if we get confirmation that he's going to be back in there, coming off the bench, or regardless if he's in the starting lineup. Also, this Wizards team is still, I think, a little hard to trust for me. Taking 10.5 on the road, especially when we've seen the Steams creep up a little bit by a point, so that scares me off just a little bit from that angle. Just a lot of unknown at this point. The Raptors have shown that they have the ability to lock teams down if they're completely healthy, and now that they are completely healthy and getting their guys back, that's just a scary proposition, I think, for anybody who's thinking about taking points in that. Was regardless of if the Wizards do cover here, I think the Raptors have much more upside. So I think if there is a side to this one, I'd probably lean towards Toronto, but I'm staying away. Just a little bit too much iffiness right now for both sides, I think.
I agree with that breakdown. Seeing a 230 in the Wizards game at first was appealing, but Wizards pace last 5, 10th in the NBA, 102.4 possessions a game. Pace last 5 for the Raptors, 97.67 possessions a game, 21st in the NBA. But no Van Fleet. JB, I love when you talk about the Raptors. Take it away, Wizards-Raptors.
Yeah, today I'm not going to have a lot to say because I'm kind of sick of losing money believing that what Wizards can't do something in a certain spot. I probably would have taken this game normally, but I think that the way that the Raptors pissed away that 30-point lead against Oklahoma City in their last game left a really bad taste in my mouth. So I'm just kind of off this game. What I'm probably going to do is live bet this game just based on how Washington comes out, because you already know how the Raptors are going to come out. They're a really good home team. They always play good defense, but the Wizards are a really tricky team to handicap because they can just go bananas and score a bunch of points and backdoor cover these double-digit spreads. So I was interested in the first half price a little bit, but I just don't want to lay double digits with the Raptors unless I know for sure that Van Vliet's going to be in the game.
I feel that. Trotwam leading Wizards first half. He cashed with that against the Bulls, but the Wizards weren't able to hammer that full game, let the Bulls back in it. Very quickly, guys, very quickly, because we only have about 20 more minutes to break down the rest of the games. What do you think about the Bradley Beal over 22.5 point prop, Jordan? What do you think about that spot?
It's tough. That seems like a really cheap price for Beal, though, considering he's been upwards of 25, 26 points at times in his prop market so far this season. So I mean, if you're kind of like betting that the Wizards are going to hang in this game and you're going to get four full quarters of Bradley Beal and maybe over 30 minutes, which they've kind of been limiting him in his minutes as well lately, just because they have really nothing to play for. So that's a little bit concerning. You're kind of betting that he's going to get hot in the first half, I think, more than anything. But that is a pretty cheap price. I haven't taken a look at props just yet. I usually do that after the show. But at first glance, yeah, that's not a bad price considering what he has been at points this season.
Yeah, I like it. Junior Browne, what do you think about the prop market here in this Wizards-Raptors game? 22.5. It's slightly juiced to the over with Bradley Beal. Isaiah Thomas, 11.5. OG on the Raptors is at 10.5. Lowry, 19.5. Siakam, 21.5. Anything jump out at you?
The Bradley Beal, if you believe that the Wizards are going to win, then you would probably want to touch that Bradley Beal over because I don't really see a scenario where he scores less than 23 points and they win that game. So if you like the Wizards, I'm not even saying the Wizards to win that game, but to cover the spread so they keep it close, they keep it under double digits, whereas Bradley Beal will tend to play more minutes because they believe that they have a shot to win the game. They would probably pull him, with maybe 6 minutes remaining if it was a double-digit spread. It's kind of hard to tell, but if you're leaning Wizards, maybe you want to lean Bradley Beal as well because I think that makes more sense.
Let's talk Timberwolves-Pacers. This is a spot where Indiana opened up at 8.5. The Wolves made the Teague trade, so questions at the point for them. The Covington and Culver playing very well right now. But questions at the point after the trade. We had a whole bunch of people telling us that make a move on the Pacers. Make a move on the Pacers right now. And the market's moving towards the Wolves, which I find very, very interesting. This is the second half of the home and home. Wednesday night, Pacers won 104-99. Karl Anthony Towns was going to come back in the lineup, but then he's sick. And now they play the Raptors on Saturday night. at home. So why bring Cat back here in Indiana when you can just keep him with the doctors in Mini and bring him back Saturday at home? So I don't expect Karl-Anthony Townsend lineup. But then Sabonis goes for 29 and 13 when he was a game-time decision for a knee injury. Brogdon comes back from an illness. I'm surprised at this market move. I'm surprised that it's gone to 7.5. This total opened up at 216.5. That's where it stands now. Jordan Sharp, a move to be made with Timberwolves-Pacers?
Yeah, not until we get firm confirmation of Towns. The Wolves have been playing this game for like a month now, and to be honest, I'm sick of it, and I think everybody else is too. But you exactly, you hit the nail on the head, Jimmy. I mean, like, why on the front end of a back-to-back, you guy who've been resting, basically resting the entire month of December and now into January, and why would you bring him back on the front half of back-to-back when you have a home game tomorrow and you can play him in front of your home fans? It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. That being said, you're right. The line has ticked down here. The Pacers, I think their issue right now is whether or not the Wolves, that trade yesterday was interesting because it kind of is the first signal of the real tank going on for them right now. You trade a veteran piece like Jeff Teague, you don't have much interest in winning the rest of the season. So it kind of remains to be seen what their morale is kind of, I think, coming into this game. They could, look at it as, that's a signal from the front office that we're shutting it down, for the rest of the year. And if that's the case, like, that they come out flat, the Pacers could very well steamroll them now with their getting healthier and getting their guys back into the lineup. So I don't have a play on this game. I looked at it pretty deeply too because I kind of was leaning towards the Pacers early in this one. But the line at 3 in the first quarter and 4.5 in the first half, the Pacers just aren't that kind of team that's going to jump out to an early lead more often than not. They'll do it sometimes, and at home there's definitely a higher probability of it, but they're also a team that kind of grinds you out and gets you down into the fourth quarter, and they take a full 2-3 possession lead and then end up winning the game. So that's, I think, more of what you're betting on here. But going against the steam here would be a little tough for me with a Pacers team that I know is still kind of getting their legs back under him and obviously still anticipating the return of Victor Oladipo here in about 11 days. So that I think is going to keep me off of this game. I'm still pretty interested, though. If Cat misses, I'm sure you're going to see this line steam up a little bit, and that may be where I make a move on it, but I'm not ready to do it just yet.
JB, does this market move make sense to you? Now 7.5, is Shabazz good enough to be the starting point guard for this team moving forward? Or do they make a move for D'Angelo Russell, which we've been hearing about? Junior Brown, take it away, Timberwolves-Pacers.
So I took Pacers first half at full game. I got them in 8.5. This market move makes absolutely no sense to me because what are you taking the Wolves based on? I can understand if the Pacers had an injury, but the Wolves actually got worse in the last 24 hours, not better, right? I mean, without Jeff Teague, and it's not to say Jeff Teague is lighting the world on fire, but he's a competent NBA point guard. I guess who's now about to be a backup to Trae Young until his contract expires at the end of the season. But who's the Wolves point guard? You said, is Shabazz Napier a point guard? Definitely not a starting point guard in the NBA. If Shabazz Napier is your starting point guard, and this is not the University of Connecticut, you have a big-time problem. So, no, I don't understand the market move at all. I'm obviously going to be hitting that up since I got the Pacers at 8.5. Now it's down to 7.5 in some shops. I just don't understand it, but until I see any proof that the Wolves are a competent team that looks like they want to win, I'm going to be fading them. They're 2-8 in their last 10 road games. Their offense ranks 27th in the league during that span, and the Pacers are obviously a much, much better home team than they are on the road. They look to have everybody healthy. Oladipo is coming back in 2 weeks. That obviously has nothing to do with this game, but the Pacers are on an upward trend, whereas the Wolves are going in the opposite direction. So I'm going to ride with the Pacers full game and first half. But I will say that I don't love 8.5 full game because it's a lot of points. But I just think the Wolves are a really bad team right now. Agreed.
And I would be shocked to hear that Cat's playing tonight. So I absolutely agree. All right, let's keep rolling. I took the Sixers -7 this morning. I almost took them first half, but my book was hanging the 4.5. Only bookmaker was hanging the 4. The Sixers are still at 7. There is Bovada hanging the 7.5. Let's quickly see what it is first half. And all the 4s are back. I'm going to double up here. Unless you guys talk me off this, I'm going to add Sixers -4 to my card first half. I liked First off, look at this team that Zach LaVine's been carrying 5 straight games with 25 points or more. Gafford dislocates his right thumb. Hutchinson gets an elbow injury. They're running out of bodies here, or competent bodies, and the pace for the Bulls, pace last 5:20, Sixers pace last 5:26, but Tobias Harris is stepping up, and the Sixers made it look so easy in the fourth quarter against the Nets. I'm going to double up now. Jordan Sharp, Bulls, Sixers.
I think you're leaning the right direction here. The only way you could look here is I think the Sixers. The Bulls are missing both their starting front court members. You're going to get like 30 plus minutes of Luke Cornett starting at center tonight, and that is not good news for their interior defense. They're already like the worst, or one of the worst, if not the worst, interior defense in the entire league against big men. Now you add in the fact that they're missing Gafford, one of their only real athletes and shot blockers, and then you miss Wendell Carter, who's also a really good rebounder and overall defender in the paint, obviously for the last couple weeks and for the next couple beyond today. It's danger zone for the Chicago Bulls tonight. They are very much in danger of getting blown out unless Zach LaVine continues this run and just continues to carry this team and go for 30-plus tonight. I think that's the only way they stay into this game. If you're looking at prop bets in this one, I'd be probably leaning towards one of the big men for Philly tonight, specifically Al Horford in some way, shape, or fashion. I don't know how. I mean, the Bulls, like rebounding props, this is where I'd be looking at in this game because the Bulls are just going to have absolutely no ability to rebound the basketball tonight. They're going to have to give minutes to Cristiano Felicio, who's obviously not a bad player, but he didn't look great the other night either. So, trouble in Chicago. I've definitely leaned towards. I think, and with I was going to say, as regards to your pick, Jimmy, I think the first half is probably even better than the full game, simply because the Sixers have been, I think, devastatingly good defensively in the first half at home. I haven't seen the number in front of me here, but I could look it up. But that's actually not a bad play. I might end up tailing you on that, to be honest.
The Al Horford assists and rebounds prop, I cashed with that last week in the first game that Embiid was officially out for, and it cashed it easily. It's gone up. So I got that at 10.5 in that first game. It's at 12.5 here, and minus 140 to the under because there's 40 cents juice. Usually it's 20 each side. It's 12.5. Might be a tiny bit too much for me. I like that you are back in this first half Sixers spot. JB, Bulls, Sixers.
Yeah, I'm going to be very quick because we don't have a lot of time today. I have no play on this game. If I did, it would be Sixers or nothing. The Bulls injuries. I say this all the time. The Bulls are not the type of team that can afford injuries to starters or guys that play 30-plus minutes and still sustain what they're doing. And when I say sustain what they're doing, they're definitely another team that's trending down. So I'm not going. I wouldn't even take the points in this situation with a team. Trending in the wrong direction, who now has injury concerns to worry about on top of their form and how they're playing. So it's kind of a stay away for me. They haven't beaten a quality team in at least a good 6 to 8 weeks. So they're going on like 2 months without a quality win. The last quality win they had was December 14th against the Clippers. Since then, they've beaten absolutely nobody and lost to a lot of teams. So I'm off the Bulls right now.
Drew Patterson, as well as 420 Fuego, wondering about this Ben Simmons prop at 16.5. And I know we don't have a lot of time. We got to be quick, but 16.5 player prop, and he's going to be, chasing LaVine around the court. And that's my first bit of a fear about it. Jordan Sharp, if you had a free play on the 16.5, would you go over or under?
He's been a lot better, and his usage has gone obviously way up since Embiid's gone off the court. So I think that helps for sure. But the price is, pretty fair. It's so close. It's one of those you could land right at 16. I think the line's actually pretty sharp. I don't think I have a lean either way on this one. It seems that right now with the way his usage has gone up, if it was 3 games ago, obviously it's a different story. But now that the market's I can correct it on him a little bit since Embiid's been out, I think it's probably going to be a stay away for me. I don't know. I guess you asked me if I had a free play. I guess I'd probably go under just because the Bulls have a lot of good wing defenders. Their ability to throw different looks at him and guys that could throw him on. Maybe not so guys that can match his size, but definitely match his strength and speed. So and it's also you're kind of thinking about like if they blow out the Bulls tonight, how much fourth quarter Ben Simmons minutes are we going? So I'd probably lean towards the under.
Lean towards the under. JB, very quickly, free play on 16.5 Ben Simmons. You go over or under?
I would stay away from that. Ben Simmons is such a weird player that he threw up like the last couple of games. He's actually been playing well. He's averaging, I think, like 22, 23 points a game. But a couple of games ago, he had like 11, 16 and a half. I kind of agree with Jordan that if anything, the Bulls have a couple of different wing guys that they can stick on him. I would kind of stay away from that Ben Simmons prop in this situation.
I jumped on the Heat money line. We've been getting different things coming out of the Thunder camp. I was expecting Steven Adams not to be in the lineup. We know that Nerlens Noel dealing with an ankle injury, and I was like, who's going to be at the 5? Mike Muscala? Because if I see Mike Muscala in the starting lineup at the 5, I'm going to hammer this harder than I have. These were the only 2 plays I made this morning, Heat money line and the Sixers -7. Heat, Thunder. Jordan Sharp, what do you think?
Yeah, this one's tricky because Steven Adams is not on the Thunder's injury report right now, which would presumably mean he's going to start tonight. So I think until you hear anything else, you have to assume that he's going to be in the game. And then just like you mentioned, Nerlens Noel could be back tonight. So the Thunder could have both of their big men back tonight. I think that's where you really see the discrepancies in this. And right now, I do have a play on this game. I've locked in one, but I just want to speak on the sides for just a second because I think that's where most people are going to be looking at. I agree if these guys are really banged up and Noel misses again and Adams is not 100%, then I think you do have to lean towards Miami in this one, absolutely. Because especially if Adams isn't up to speed, that's going to be trouble for their interior defense. Speaking of, not just the Bulls tonight, it could be them as well. Because Bam Adebayo is just going to absolutely crush if they don't have 100% of Adams in there. So that is a little bit struggling. But I think because of that. And I'm kind of hoping Nerlens Noel misses because of this. Is I have the first quarter over in this one. I grabbed it at 54.5. I think it's up to 55.5 at most shops. It's just because that not just because of the pace, because there's really these two teams play pretty slowly in the first quarter, but they've been so successful, especially the Heat offensively. Most of their offensive success in the first quarter at home. They've been just as good on the road, or just as good over their last 5. They're averaging, I think, still over 120 points per 100 possessions in the first quarter. And if the OKC defense, especially in the interior, is not what it is, the Heat are going to be probing and getting into the paint and finding open three-pointers for their shooters in the wing. So I think they have a lot of upside offensively against a team that's normally pretty good defensively, but has not been that great lately. So I think I'm going to ride that and go with I got the over at 54.5 here, first quarter.
First quarter over. Interesting look. JB, Heat, Thunder.
I got the Thunder first half and full game. I just don't understand why this price is so cheap. If you just look at the way that Miami plays away from home, and everyone or anyone that watches the show knows that the Heat at home is one of the tickets that I've been cashing the most, and that kind of blindly led me to back the Heat on the road at the beginning of the season. But they're 10 and 11 on the road. They're a full 7 points worse on offense and on defense on the road. They're just not the same team. Meanwhile, the Thunder have been one of the most consistent teams over the last month. So if I can get them at less than, if I can get them at a 1 possession spread in the first half and full game -0.5, 2, and what is it, 1.5? I got them at. That's to me. I can't pass that up. So I'm on the Thunder first half full game.
I might be overthinking these quotes and comments coming out of the Heat locker room, coming from Spoelstra, how they're tired of playing so poorly on the road. They're going to step up at some point. And maybe I'm hammering it too closely. But yeah, 7.5 points of offense less away from American Airlines Arena. I think the Heat step up here, and I'm still getting different remarks coming out of. We had a couple different sites downgrade Steven Adams to doubtful, but he was not on the injury report. So, but it's a knee injury. We will see. Let's keep rolling. We got to speed this up. Cavaliers, Grizzlies. Look, Grizzlies are rolling 6 straight. They're averaging 126.2 points per game. Their team over those 6 games. Their team totals at 18.5. The only time they didn't get to 18 or 118.5 was the last time they played the Cavaliers in a loss there. Everybody's rolling for this team. I still have yet to make a move, and I can't wait to hear you guys break down. Jordan Sharp, Cavaliers, Grizzlies.
Yeah, this was probably the one I was most excited to look at this morning, and I still haven't made a play on it, if that tells you anything, because I do think that the 8 points is a pretty sharp for the full game line. If there is a play on this game, I think I'll probably end up getting at the first half at -4.5, because the Grizzlies have been pretty successful at home in the first half, and their offense is capable of just right now, especially with the way they've been playing over the last 2-3 weeks, just unloading on this Cavaliers team that actually plays zero defense on the road and is absolutely looking more towards losing than winning. And the thing that I also was kind of looking at here's the over in the first half. 111.5 with Kevin Love coming back probably for the Cavaliers tonight. I think it's a little bit intriguing just because the Grizzlies tend to play a little looser and obviously very, very fast at home. If they grab the lead early and force the Cavaliers, who are absolutely a slow down pace team, to come up in pace, I think you could see a lot of points tonight from both clubs in the first half and hopefully see the Grizzlies have a 5-6 point lead in this one. But right now I haven't made a move at all either. I'm kind of hesitant right now just with the way that the Cavaliers, they have looked a little bit better lately, especially in first halves, not so much in the second halves, but they're kind of one of those teams that are tanking and, kind of tend to hang around a little bit and then just let it go in the third or fourth quarter. But, yeah, haven't yet made a move on that one, but if I do, it'll be Memphis first half, but nothing official just yet.
Memphis first half. That's also a look from our guy Trotwam. Memphis first half. JB, Cavaliers, Grizzlies.
I took the Grizzlies in the first half -4.5. I do want to touch on something Jordan said, though. He is right that the Cavaliers have been much better in the first half lately of their games. But that being said, kind of looking at it based on something that we were talking about yesterday, the Grizzlies right now are 8th in the Western
All right, we have a frozen
Conference playoff spot. Seriously, as a team that could actually make the playoffs. They have to be teams like the Cavaliers. The Cavaliers are one of the few teams that Memphis is clearly better than. Memphis is a team that's young, up and coming. Their best player is a future superstar. The Cavaliers really have nothing to play for. Obviously, they have a couple of veterans that do play hard every game, but I just think that these are teams trending in the complete opposite direction, and Memphis is if Memphis is going to do it, these are the teams that they have to do it against. So I'm just backing Memphis to continue this good run that they've been on, where they've been taking care of business, especially at home.
I get it. I absolutely get it. Let's move on to Hawks Spurs. This total was screaming at us on my show this morning, and I was hesitant to make a move. It got up to 230 across the board, 230.5s got on the board, and now we're seeing 229.5s. I did make a move on the Kevin Huerter over 13.5 points. The Huerter props have been cashing for me. Whenever there's a guard that can defend, can anyone defend Trey? I don't know, but DeWanta's going to give it a shot at times tonight. I'm sure there will be times that Patty Mills will be on him. But I'm taking the Huerter over 13.5 point prop this evening. Hawks, Spurs. Jordan, DeRozan is rolling. One of my favorite players of all time. 20 or more points, shot 50% or better from the floor for 12 straight games. The only person to do that is MJ. Trae Young goes off, but I'm still hesitant to back him with the hamstring issues that he's been having on and off. Take it away, Jordan Sharp. Are you making a move on Hawks Spurs?
I do have a play on this game. I'll be real quick because I know we got to get out of here. I have the Hawks first half. I grabbed them at +5. I think they're down to 4.5 now at most shops. It seems to where that's where it's settled at. Another team that, with the signal that they made, they're bringing back Jeff Teague. I mean, they're not giving up despite the struggles they've had. And obviously the Collins suspension really crushed their season pretty much. But I mean, they haven't given up yet. And the Eastern Conference is still, there's still half a season left. So I mean, I think that they are at least motivated to come down here and try to compete here with the Spurs, who obviously you said DeRozan's been rolling, but it's going to be one of the bigger tests of DeAndre Hunter's season so far, trying to shut him down tonight. Because if that's the case, and like your boy Herter hitting threes tonight, maybe I think the Hawks are pretty. The 5 points just a lot. The 8.5 I'm struggling with in the full game just because it's another team that once again could kind of just let it go in the third and fourth quarter, but. Also, I think they with Trae Young, if he's causing trouble for this Spurs defense, which I think is very plausible, a team that doesn't really play that well offensively in the first half of their games at home, especially in the first quarter of their games too. That was another look I was looking at. But so far, only official one. This one's Hawks +5 first half. I think they keep it close early on.
Hawks +5 first half. Ibrahim saying is Trae Young prop at 30 points, -114 automatic. I don't know. The Devin Booker prop last night, 29.5. It got juiced up to -165. Thank God I stayed off of it. It landed on 29. Those are tough numbers. JB, Hawks Spurs.
Yeah, I'm off this game just for one simple reason. I haven't been able to cap the Spurs properly all season, and it's one of those things you got to just be aware of. I just don't have a good read on them whatsoever. So unless I see some kind of a clear advantage, I won't really be putting too much money on the Spurs until I've gotten them figured out. And that being said, there's just too many points for me. 8.5 is a lot of points. The Hawks, like Jordan said, the move to get Jeff Teague shows that they're not giving up, whatever that means. So it's just a stay away from me. I don't see any kind of angle personally that I like in this game.
Drew Patterson talking about the DeRozan points over 23.5. I'm concerned that because his field goal percentage is being so high that he's going to be choosy with his shots. I'd rather him not be on this streak of over 50% from the field so that he would jack up a ton of shots. And that's what kept me off the 23.5. I did make a move on CJ over 21.5 points in Blazers-Mavericks. I know that Dame and Luka are going to be battling. I know Hardaway Jr. is going to be on CJ. If Seth is ever on CJ, I just think CJ can put up points tonight, and he's been doing that over 21.5. That's my only look here. Portland, Dallas opening up at -7. There's a 7.5 at Bookmaker, a 6.5 at Pinnacle, and this total at 228.5. Jordan Sharp, take it away. Blazers, Mavericks.
Yeah, we're really just waiting on kind of whether or not Kristaps Porzingis' knee is ready to go with this one, because obviously he warmed up and there was a late scratch their last game. So that's kind of all eyes on that one. I'm not touching this game until I know what's going on with him. If he's out again, I think that actually helps your CJ prop a little bit, because their rim protection has not been what it was with him in the lineup as it is, obviously, since he's been out. So that may actually be a pretty good look. But yeah, so far just staying away from this one until I know more.
Makes sense. JB, are you making a move here? Alex Ramirez, Spidey play the day is these Mavericks at home at 7. JB, Blazers, Mavericks.
No, actually, I'm staying away from this game too until I know Kristaps has been at least cleared to play. And something that Jordan just said, the rim protection hasn't been the same. In the last 10 games, the Mavericks are ranked 24th in defensive rating. That obviously has a lot to do with Kristaps Porzingis being out. So I definitely need to know what's going on with him before I'll be laying any points with Mavericks at this point. Ski
Profit saying Porzingis out, and I capped this game expecting Porzingis not to be in the lineup. There you have it. Those are all the games on this card. I've got 3 player props. Pretty simple looks here. For me, I got Beal over 22.5. I've got Herter over 13.5 and CJ over 21.5. I jumped in on the Sixers -7 early, and I also jumped in on the Heat money line early, and I am going to double up on that Sixers spot, and I am taking a first half, and I am interested with the Pacers now that it's at 7.5. Jordan Sharp, could you review your action?
Yeah, so far only got 2 locked in. I have the first quarter over Miami and OKC at 54.5. And then I have the Hawks +5 in the first half line, and I'm really, really close to getting Memphis in the first half. Haven't done it just yet. I really would like to wait till Jay Crowder news come out, which is what I missed on last time around that he missed, and they still cashed. So I don't think that's going to prevent me either way against Cleveland here. So I think that's probably going to be my third of the night.
I feel you. I like your looks here. JB, can you review your action, my friend?
I got Pacers first half -5 and full game -8.5. Probably going to jump on that 7.5. I've got Thunder -0.5, first half -1.5 full game, and Grizzlies first half -4.5.
I like it. Follow our guys. Follow them. Also, please hit the link at the bottom of the screen. That does so much for this show. We're trying to show the value of this show, and we believe in this show so much. Please hit it, www.sbrvideo.com and /Jammin. I'm not sure if it's Jammin. I don't know exactly what the link is, but show that you love this show because we love this show. And follow our guys on Twitter. Jordan Sharp at TEH Sharp. Please follow him. And our guy, Junior Browne, follow him on, sorry, let me grab it right now. Follow him on Twitter. I love our guy. It's J.R. Browne, JRBROWNE 21. And I know this show is not the same without our leader, J Money Revenge Game J. But I'm very thankful and honored to roll with you guys. Love this chat. Danny, my guy, Trotwam, Ninji, Chris, Mark Unkefer, Marcelo 420 Fuego, Justin Kennard, Danny, my guy. All of us are so thankful to have you guys rolling with us. Thank you so much. But most importantly, let's get this shit. Leche! Halos Bookmakers!